Good morning and welcome back to your lofty station ITV, broadcasting from Mbappe Hills here in Abuja. And as usual, we are on to your program, your highly concise program, State of the Nation, where we hasten the motions for national development. This morning on this segment, we shall do justice to a factor that is close to being an aberration in our system. And what am I talking about here? I'm talking about the element of fake drugs in our society. Not just the fake drugs alone. We shall be dealing with the agency of government, NAFDAC, and its battle against this proliferation of fake drugs. It is a situation that does not augur well for us, because whichever way we look at it, we need medication to take care of it. Be it as little as that headache that we use a simple analgesic for, to the regular one that is an African thing, the malaria fever, to what is happening right now in terms of cholera. We are talking in terms of COVID. All ailments needs medication to make sure it works. But what happens? What do you think will happen when the medications we are hoping will get us better is being adulterated? Fake ones are being produced. We don't even know the difference between the genuine ones and the fake ones. It is a situation that is huge. It is a situation NAFDAC should take care of. NAFDAC is working hard to take care of it. And with me in the studio this morning is Dr. Chuba Keshi. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Good.
It's good to be here again.
Same here too. Good to have you around. Dr. Chuba, as you've seen there, is a publisher of a pharmaceutical business journal called Pharmascope. Before we delve into that, we would like a situation of getting you abreast of what we are going to talk about today. The caption is NAFDAC and the battle against fake drugs. Where do we start from? Where do we go from here? What we're going to do to you this morning is we're going to start from the element of what is fake drugs. How do we get it into our system? How did it get into our system? And at the end of it all, we will now talk in terms of ways of mitigating fake drugs and the institution of government that takes care of that. My first question to you, my brother, Dr. Chuba Keshi, is let us look at these fake drugs from inception. Did we inherit it? Is it imported? Is it locally produced? Can you give us your insights there?
Yeah, thank you very much. This issue I have been passionate about.
Oh, thank you. Share your passion with us.
Because the problem of fake drugs, somehow, I've been involved in looking at it and trying to deal with it.
Oh, good.
But if you ask when fake drugs came into Nigeria, fake drugs were first noticed or discovered in 1968.
That was a long time ago?
Yes, here in Nigeria, 1968, and it was a free-for-all. Nobody was regulating the manufacture, the production and the consumption of drugs.
What a shame.
So it went on, and by the time the NAFDAC decree was promulgated in 1993, yes, by 1993.
Okay.
I think that was Babangida administration.
That's right.
Am I correct? Yeah. So by the time it was promulgated, the prevalence of fake drugs was arguably maybe 40 to 50%.
That's on the high side. Whichever we want to look at it, it's on the high side.
And that continued. But by the time the most famous DG of NAFDAC, Dora Akunyili.
Dora, blessed memory.
Yes, by the time she left office in 2008, I guess, or 9, the prevalence had reduced to
because she was hard against it.
To about 11%.
Oh, that's
That
good
was the
news.
singular event that put Nigeria on the world map of credibility. Nigeria was so credible when it came to the issue of drugs.
Oh,
You know.
that's good. That's good.
Drug efficacy, safety, everything.
Oh, that's good.
But
That's good.
unfortunately, I would say, I will not say the same today.
What percentages are you looking at today?
Well, there hasn't been any kind of study recently.
Okay, recently, yes.
But it could be, it may have gone back to
What it was,
what it was, or
when,
perhaps even worse.
if not worse, if
Yes.
not worse, if not worse. Now you've given us some insights into fake drugs here in Nigeria that has been with us for that long ago, and it's still here with us. And I don't think the situation it's getting any better.
Right.
But the thing is, now we have two angles to fake drugs: imported fake drugs and locally produced drugs. I am not saying that our locally produced drugs are fake. But at the same time, if we are talking about fake drugs, if something fake means it's adulterated or somebody is copying or aping your medicine, that is using your brand name. What do you think is happening with our local manufacturers in terms of fake drugs?
Well, you know, when you say fake drugs,
Okay.
you know, first of all, okay, let us even know what fake drugs are.
Okay,
Fake drugs,
educate us.
you just said it. When you copy somebody's drugs, even if it is
Okay.
efficacious, it's still fake.
Fake drug.
According to
okay.
the NAFDAC law, you know, fake drug is any drug that, simply put, has no NAFDAC certification.
Oh, that's good enough because they are the regulatory
Yes,
body.
there's no NAFDAC certification. So even if it is efficacious, it is it means comes to a standard, but NAFDAC has not given you a mark, a good
Okay.
go ahead
Okay.
to deal on these drugs. It is fake drugs.
Oh.
But technically, the drugs that are fake are those that the active ingredients are not up to what should be.
Okay.
You know, but we understand fake drugs, the drug that is not approved. If you ape somebody's drugs,
Okay.
NAFDAC will not approve it.
Okay,
Even if
that's
you
a
get it
good
right.
one. That's a
so
good one.
it becomes a fake drug.
What happens if you ape it and do it right and then brand it as your own medication?
No, there is what we call generics.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
The generics are those drugs that are not, you know, that of generic is the basic form of the drug.
Okay.
The molecules that compose make the drugs.
the makeup.
So if you have it, you have the generic version of it.
Okay.
You see, but a drug that is that is still being patented,
Okay.
you cannot produce the generic. So if it's off patent and you produce it, of course it is genuine. And NAFDAC says they look at it, it goes through the test, and it's genuine. It's not fake drug.
Okay. Okay. At this juncture, we've looked at our internal production.
Sorry,
of
there was a question you asked.
Okay, go ahead,
I
please.
forgot it, but I only digressed.
wait,
establish what fake drugs are.
we will still capture it.
Go on.
Because based on what you said, that even on a local front, we might be doing a good job in mitigating that element of fake drugs. In other words, that throws it back at us. That the proliferation of fake drugs is imported in most cases.
Yes, you said whether is it an important
Local or
it is both. It is both. If you remember, there was a guy that was jailed. He was a manufacturer that produced the My Pikin.
Oh, one syrup for children.
Yes, that was a local manufacturer.
Local, yes.
But fake drugs, as we know it, unfortunately, there are a lot of issues. Most of them come, I would say, perhaps from abroad. But NAFDAC has a very strong inspection system, which again, and let me even say it now,
Go ahead, please.
which again has been compromised.
To what level?
Yes.
What's the level of compromise?
In 2008, let me save you the details.
All right.
But it fell on me to go to China to get an inspection agent for NAFDAC.
Okay.
So I traveled all eastern belt from Tianjin down to Qingdao, Shanghai to Guangzhou. I was in China for 30 days. I traversed the whole of China, you know. So I came back, I made my report and submitted. And
Can you give us a little inkling into?
Yes, let me, so there was a company called NHU Zhenjing, quoted on the Chinese Stock Exchange.
Okay.
Very credible company. So that was the basic company I
visited.
I recommended. No, I visited so many of them, So I came back and submitted my report. Then all of us, I said NHU Zhenjing. So all of a sudden, for people to start calling me from China, writing me, saying that, be careful, look at what is going on, that NAFDAC had appointed NHU Laboratories.
With just a little disparity.
So
NHU Beijing.
It happened that a guy who was sponsored in Seattle was one of the people I met when I got to China. I met so many people.
Oh, sure, naturally.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the guy had gone to establish or to register, NHU Laboratories. Remember I said NHU Zhenjing. Quoted on the Chinese Stock Exchange. So NHU Laboratories, which had not even gone through registration by the time the guy was appointed. How? But that's not the whole story. That same guy had been, in 2005, banned by NAFDAC for importing fake drugs to Nigeria. So now a guy that had been
indicted then
for fake drugs now becomes an inspection agent. So you can imagine. And I tell you, the guy is still
at it
till today.
That's a huge allegation and indictment on this person.
When he came, that's the guy that took over from Akwinle. In 2011, I went back to China. Came back, did a report again, and that was it. Nothing happened. The guy is still there till today.
That's a huge one.
For me, when I go to the pharmacy and pick up a drug, and I see manufactured in China, I will drop it because I know. You understand what I'm saying? So, if it's India is perfect. I must give it to India. India is so good.
They don't allow for any of all these adulteration and then side business.
Not that there are no criminals there.
Criminals all over the world.
There are no people who are genuine in China. There are people who are genuine in China.
Okay.
But like I said, I've just told you my experience.
So which is good enough for us because it's an experience.
Because of that, if I see any drug that is made in China or manufactured in China,
you take it with a pinch of salt.
I don't even take it with any salt.
Any salt, you don't take it at all.
I don't leave it there.
So, based on this, now you've been able to give us an insight into what happens outside of our shores, which is not even the purview of NAFDAC yet. But the thing is, on a daily basis, on a regular basis, these fake drugs are getting into Nigeria. How do we mitigate this?
No, not getting into. They're both getting into and being made here.
It's double jeopardy.
Yes. Otherwise, no fake drug can come because NAFDAC must inspect it first. And the drug, for you to leave India or China or Vietnam or wherever it's coming from,
that have been
certified by somebody there. NAFDAC agent, which I told you was private to get in.
When you went to China.
Yes. So supposed to be certified there. So when it's certification, it comes here. Well, if the NAFDAC agent there could approve it, I don't think we'll have much problem here.
They'll just take the documentation of his approval and then it will sail through.
Otherwise, we won't need an agent there.
That's right. That's right. So, but in that case, then, it looks like this fake drug, the traffic for fake drugs, depends on the NAFDAC man that gives a certification to the importer that brings it into Nigeria.
And to the manufacturer, to
the manufacturer out there. Before it comes
even here. Because if you manufacture locally, NAFDAC will still test it.
Okay.
And approve it before you take it to market. It's not a one-off thing, no.
I know.
They take it randomly.
Random checks and checks, then But the thing is, what I'm still particular about is, which you know about, you're conversant with, the fake drugs these days are beyond 50%.
Well, I'm a social scientist. I will not.
You will not allude
a
study on that. You will not allude to that.
Yes.
But the thing is, where is this fake drugs coming from, so that we can apportion blame, so that we can tell Nigerians?
I just told you.
Agreed.
Some are imported, some are manufactured here
locally.
So, and I've just told you what happened.
Okay.
So you can see that how some of these things can come in. A guy that was in 2005, his company that is a manufacturer of drugs in China was banned. There's a record for importing fake drugs. There were 5 of them were banned. He was one of them. This company was one of them. And now this guy goes to establish a company. And people wrote to me from China saying, see, that how could you people, somebody that you banned, are you not, he's the person behind, and I know he was the person behind that.
Can you imagine? You imagine that?
You know, but it's going to, and the guy is still there today.
Let me ask you another question, which is because personally, as a Nigerian, I'm trying to mitigate and reduce distance. There's a NAFDAC man there in China to make sure everything is good before he appends pen to paper. There is the manufacturer there in China that we have vouched for. The thing is, the element of fake, is there no way we can mitigate it at our border posts? I'm talking in terms of, there's a NAFDAC man in China, there should be some other agencies of government, maybe standard organizations.
No, there's NAFDAC
at the ports.
Yes. First of all, you cannot bring in drugs in the air with aircraft,
cargo,
by flight. It has to be through the ports, the
ports, because of the size.
And some NAFDAC officers resume there as their office every morning. So they still see those drugs, but you see, I don't think they will have their testing, whatever there. It is only when
they just rely on documentation.
When you come, they look at your documentation, unless there's suspicion. Unless there's suspicion.
Or maybe there's a whistleblower somewhere.
But I want to believe. I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know for sure. I want to believe that they may have some quick test equipment there. You know, if there's suspicion, and then they can now go and do the proper testing.
Okay, because let's move inward now. Let us go local. We are now in Nigeria. We're trying to mitigate this spread of fake drugs. Apart from NAFDAC, what other institutions, be they professional that are into it, that can help us lower these things? I'm thinking in terms of, there is this FCCPC, Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission.
No, leave all that. See, the issue of drugs, highly technical, and it's not something that you put to everybody. There's something that has been bothering me. You know?
Go ahead, let's hear it.
The apex regulatory body for pharmacy practice, the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria, PCN, the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria. You know, so they are the apex regulatory for the practice of pharmacy, but the manufacturing of drugs, manufacturing, distribution, selling, and is NAFDAC. But you see,
does that shortchange the PCN?
No, I'm coming to that. You see, you cannot manufacture drugs without practicing pharmacy.
That's right, naturally, yes.
PCN comes in.
Okay.
So the PCN will make sure that you are qualified, you are ethically sound.
Okay.
It's because a small error, there's no room for error.
No, there is no room for error in medication.
A small error can be fatal. You know, here. So PCN works with NAFDAC to do that. You see, but that is the practice. Okay. But who checks whether you have done a good job? Is NAFDAC.
Okay. Okay.
So you can see that that's where the phone. But you see, then there's SON,
Standard Organization of Nigeria.
I went to when I was in active reporting. I went to one of these those companies.
Okay.
And I sat there at the reception waiting to see the person I came to see. And I saw a certificate, pasted, framed.
Okay, yes, a certificate
of quality from Sun. And I couldn't forget that is food. It's food, National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control. How can Sun certify a drug, a processed food item, to be of good quality? That is not their business. Their business should be the process of using the machines. Are they quality machines?
Okay.
Are you observing the best practice in terms of how the machines you're using, the standards, whether they're of standard, whether the food itself is substandard.
That's NAFDAC.
That should be NAFDAC. I've not read the Sun Law though. That should be NAFDAC because
NAFDAC has the wherewithal to run a proper check.
To run a proper, put it in the lab, put it in whatever, put all the kinds of tests. I say, okay, this is food for human consumption.
Okay.
So when I now see that, I now begin to wonder, what is Sun doing? That should be NAFDAC's business.
In other words, are you telling us that Sun should be in a position to censor the infrastructure,
process,
the process and infrastructure of
whether it's of standard?
Whereas NAFDAC is in a position to now check the material itself.
Because if the machine itself is not of standard,
yes,
you
put
too much vegetable oil when you're making the noodles. You put too much because of a leakage somewhere.
Okay.
So I feel that should be what NAFDAC should be.
Sun should be particular about.
When the man has finished his noodles, NAFDAC takes
the noodles and runs
and
a
goes
check.
to the lab. And it's only NAFDAC that can say yes.
It's good for consumption.
Not Sun.
You see, I'm looking at one thing to cover maybe your last word, so to speak. There are instances where medication, the proper language for it is medication, though drug applies. But I believe when medication goes wrong, it becomes drug addiction. Like in the case of all these drugs that our kids are taking these days, tramadol, codeine, and the rest of them. They are good drugs for specific ailments. What do you think from the angle of a father, somebody who has been around, you've been in the pharmacology business, what do you think we can do to mitigate this consumption without affecting the element of medication?
Yes. One thing that we're deficient in this country, which I think PCN should look at,
okay,
is the practice of clinical pharmacy.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Clinical pharmacy. That is the pharmacy that ensures that the process of administration is followed.
Okay.
Patient care.
Okay.
If there is clinical pharmacy practice in the way it should be done, you don't just prescribe a drug to a patient, particularly ethical drugs. You don't, and then you go home.
There has to be follow-up, right?
You have to be follow. You have to follow the patient. It's part of community pharmacy. Community pharmacies, those are like I call it reception pharmacy. Those who are the front, issuing you qualified pharmacists to making sure they're giving you the right types of drugs and all that. That's those you find at superintendent pharmacies.
Okay.
These are community pharmacies. But there's clinical aspect of it. The follow-up. When you begin the administration of your drugs, the pharmacy will follow up. Are there ADRs? Is the person responding to treatment? You see, and all these things are even very good for pharmacovigilance. If there was proper clinical pharmacy, we'll
be able to draw up a difference between prescription drugs and then maybe all these over-the-counter drugs or whatever you.
Like ACT, this artemisinin-based commercial therapy for malaria.
That's right.
There's a way I react to Amodiaquine queen. Amodiaquine queen is one of the
ingredients of that.
So Amodiaquine queen and artemisinin combined. In that, then there is lumefantrine and artemether. That's what I go for. I'm sorry to say this, but the first time I took Amodiaquine queen, I started feeling some sensation in my urinary tract.
Okay.
So because I knew I was a good boy, I thought I had to tell my wife, Madam CEO,
this is happening.
I'm feeling some sensations. So of course the woman should look at you and say,
are you okay?
So I went to do a test and there was nothing.
Okay. So it's just an after effect of the medication.
It wore off. It wasn't there. So because what I do, sometimes I would take lumefantrine and sometimes I would take Amodiaquine queen. Sometimes I would take, there's one they call naftoquine, which is not popular here.
Okay.
I met that one in China. Because when I got, that time I went to China in 2008, I got there, I broke down with malaria. So I went to a pharmacy, they were looking at me, they were surprised.
Because they don't have malaria there.
So thank God that I was visiting a pharmaceutical company. So they said, okay, and I will manufacture Amodiaquine. They call it, I've forgotten the name now, but it's a combination of naftoquine and artemisinin.
Okay.
Which
at least the ingredients, it will take care of you.
So I said, okay, so they gave, and it's a one dose thing. I took it, and even when I came back, I tried to market the drug. For
Okay,
them,
okay. On this
so
note,
that's by the way.
I would like you to give your final word, not to the manufacturers or the agency of government. I want you to give a final word to the consumers.
Yes, I want to say that consumers, people should don't go to buy drugs, ethical drugs especially, when it's not prescribed by a qualified doctor.
That's one.
And when you do that, and you come to the pharmacy where you are buying it, talk to the pharmacist, seek
Professional advice.
and then let them, encourage them to practice clinical pharmacy and follow up with you. You know, and then PCN too should actually make sure that that aspect of pharmacy, you know, is it comes to the table, because as far as I'm concerned, it does not work. Even today, I walk into pharmacies and buy prescription drugs. Nobody asks me anything.
No question asked, just breathe in and breathe out. That was about my second thing to add to that. My question: that what about this proliferation of pharmacies that we have here and there?
Yes, there are rules too. PCN will not allow you to start to have two pharmacy outlets back to back, something like that. And in a marketplace, you go to the regular market, you don't find pharmacies there because PCN will not allow it. And then there are some the conditions you have to meet. You know, because it's a cold chain thing. The entire pharmaceutical value chain is cold chain. You know, you have to use a particular temperature and all that kind of stuff.
All right.
You know, to be able to
be. Fellow Nigerians, that has been Dr. Chuba Keshi. He has been able to share his ideas with us, tutor us in terms of the element of fake drugs, how it comes in, how we should beware. But his final word is what I want to cash in on. Whenever you are buying a medication, make sure you go to the right places to purchase them. Let us stop this element of somebody comes up with something, he tells you it's going to work, and you buy and key into it. It's high time we do the right thing for our health, because like they say, health is wealth. Dr. Chuba, thank you for gracing this occasion, and then at some other time we'll probably call you in.
Anytime.
Yeah, we'll probably call you in, because the health of Nigerians, not just our health is our problem and is our wealth.
And let me let you know this: a book is coming, you know, on how could have gotten ourselves out of the jam we found ourselves with inavailability of vaccines. For COVID.
Okay. What is going to happen is, I just wanted to say, one program is not enough to tidy up this. Whenever that material comes up that is going to educate Nigerians, I will gladly bring you back here so that you will educate Nigerians, and then we'll move ahead from there.
Thank you very much.
And to our viewers out there, don't go away. The program State of the Nation continues right after this time out. Stay with us.